my name is Sebastien Borget. I'm the COO and co-founder at the Sandbox. I have the pleasure to be here today at C2 Montreal. And I've been an entrepreneur since 2007 already, over 15 years with my business partner, Arthur Madrid. We co-founded 3 companies together, always in new technologies. We spent the last 10 years in video games, so that's a good part of our background and culture. And we've been now for a little bit more than 4 years, creating the Sandbox as an open metaverse, originally from a mobile game franchise that we started 10 years ago. We are today one of the leading decentralized gaming virtual world, where users can truly own the 3D content they create or they earn, monetize it the way they want, thanks to blockchain and NFTs. We've partnered with more than 400 brands, mostly for the entertainment sector, gaming brands like Ubisoft, Atari, Square Enix, music artists from Warner Music, Snoop Dogg, Steve Aoki, Deadmau5, but also fashion brand Adidas, Gucci, media, music, etc. And we are proud to have a very active, engaged community of creators, of players that now counts over 4 million users with a wallet and over an ecosystem that's rapidly growing with more than 230 builder studios around the world. The name The Sandbox was originally there. In 2011, it existed as a simple game on the platform of a web game, Congregate, and we brought that game to mobile with the idea, how do we enable anyone to become a creator? And we've done that thanks to technology. We're using smartphone, and what's new with smartphone was essentially this touchscreen. We wanted to allow anyone just to build, to create by the magic of touching with their finger, and having elements, pixels coming to life, sharing that creation online. It grew as a rapid success, and over 8 years we had more than 40 million downloads and 70 million player-made creation. But despite that success, we had also one struggle. All the content that people spent literally hours, days, sometimes to make and share, we had no way to reward those creators for the content they contributed, other than giving them social recognition, featuring them, so social fame. We couldn't share any part of the revenue that derived from the content and the users they brought to our game. There was frustration, and we were losing those top creators. But still, I was curious as an entrepreneur. I always looked at new technology, and we found in 2017 about blockchain, and the first blockchain games was CryptoKitties. And what immediately struck us was the idea that not just we would like to do virtual cats and copycats of those, but we wanted to allow anyone, again, to make their own NFTs and have the possibility then to transfer them to other users, to monetize them by selling them on the marketplace outside of the original game. There was this really moment where combining user-generated content and NFTs, we could actually solve that problem and offer a platform where we could empower anyone to be more creative and truly benefit from their creativity, earning a revenue and deriving into the whole creator economy beyond. From the beginning, our idea is we want to reward the users who are contributing to the success of the platform, whether they are creators providing the content and the experience, or they are engaging, providing life by being present and exploring, growing the community through the network effect, etc. So the Sandbox is a decentralized world that is made and owned by its community, and they can keep 95% of the values they contribute goes to those creators, those users first and foremost, rather than to the platform that captures all the value, takes it for itself, and doesn't allow really the community to keep evolving and growing efficiently through that creator economy. Keeping over 30% of revenue share as a platform in 2022 is outrageous. That's definitely something no creators should anymore accept, and really look forward which platform is going to be the most respectful of their talent or their time, the value that time, and reward it properly. It is, I would say, yet way too early to claim that Web 2 platforms are going to disappear, because those platforms still have millions of users, if not billions of users, and still take time to change old habits. But I think there will be a metaverse native generation that will be born in Web3, that will have benefited from ownership, true digital ownership of their content and cryptocurrencies. And that generation that will never look back at what used to be the previous business model. People do not buy so much more like radio tapes or CD for music. They all move into digital. So in a way, I feel like true digital ownership of any digital asset as an NFT will become like a natural right that anyone will be able to enjoy, and any platform that doesn't provide that right to their users will be part of the past. We're developing like experience spaces where users spend time, interact. They are not being tracked based on their interests. They are not being tracked on how they walk in. Like that information is now available on chain. Like which NFT you own defines like which community you belong to and which taste you might have, and could be used indeed to provide, to target users based on different ways. We don't do that. We don't have the ads, the stack, the advertising stack that allows this kind of real-time targeting in Sandbox, etc. And all of that will come only once we have audience. So let's not forget that it's so early in the metaverse that we have first to build and grow an audience that come back regularly, so it's meaningful. Right now what we are seeing in terms of interest on the advertising side is users or brands are looking maybe at placing banners or portals or content that's much more native within worlds, but they don't have any possibility to track the number of impressions, of display, of targeting, of conversion, and so on. So it's highly inefficient in a way. The challenge is how do we make it understood now at a broader scale. So that's what we've been trying, essentially, like educating a lot of brands that one of the top topics they should look at when they enter the metaverse is like being creative, being native to the format, embracing the NFT culture, and embracing user-generated content as well. And all of that combined to the idea that they should reward users, provide them with something of value, which could be like NFT or token, rather than try to extract value from those communities. Entering the metaverse with the idea, like very often in Web2, like we're going to monetize that audience right now, is probably not the right approach. Like we want to build a metaverse, and that's going to be the case still for the next few years, where users are being the one that receive value from the brands for their attention, and that will create the patterns that define like, yes, we want to spend time in there, we want to engage, we want to interact, socialize, play, have fun, learn, etc. Connecting with your fans has been one of the first challenge of music artists, specifically during the pandemic and COVID. So they've looked at new ways, how do we connect with them, we offer them valuable experience. Snoop Dogg as an artist has a legacy of like songs, music clips, but he also has created this physical space, what he called the compound, where like he has his mansion, he has different location with his car garage and so on, that is actually available physically in LA, but such a few hundreds, maybe thousands of people a year can come and visit it. So he had this idea, like let's bring it into the metaverse so millions of people could access it at any time, and we're going to even gamify it and add more like virtual shows, virtual concert element towards it, thanks to the technology. That's what we've done. He's been really one of the first music artists that understood the potential of the metaverse and the potential of NFTs as well, and he's been killing it, obviously. Like now, like you look at all music artists, he's definitely in the top 10 artists that understand and leverage best for their community. We created the Snoop Dogg Pass to be one of the first to access his concert. We created the Doggies, an avatar collection, 10,000 of them. If you own that avatar and you play into the Sandbox, you get extra rewards, for example. That's pretty exciting. I think it's definitely pioneering. The story is basically we got connected with his manager, Nick Adler, which also has been kind of visionary. It's like, how do I always put Snoop Dogg into the next wave of adoption, into the next technological revolution, so that I always use technology to offer something new to my fans, and so far he's been doing great. When you see his music clip, The House I Built, it came from him. We were amazed, like he composed the song and we were able to make the music clip in voxel using Sandbox as a tool, as a creation tool. Maybe our parents had this Woodstock moment in the music industry. A generation 5 years ago, more or less, at this Travis Scott concert in Fortnite that's also start to define what's going to be next for the music industry. I think yes, like Snoop Dogg has been showing like, okay, how music artists can use Metaverse to connect more closely with their fan, with avatar collection, car collection, virtual tickets, and a concert as well that we're preparing for hopefully end of year. What's exciting is like almost every week there's always something new coming up at Sandbox, whether it's on the product side update, whether it's on like the brands and partners who are entering from all around the world. You look at music artists. Recently you have like Tony Hawk, Gordon Ramsay, Paris Hilton, but also like DBS, the first bank of Singapore who entered Sandbox. We announced Dubaiverse recently with a leading media there, Kalish Time, that entered the space. So my takeaway is like the Metaverse has always something to offer to anyone, and we're building it as a digital nation without frontiers, who is both global but also very local. I think that's one of the strengths of Sandbox. User-generated content, being local and working with brands that appeal to local, but then onboard people toward the overall rest of the global content. It's really interesting. We'll have major land sales toward the end of the year, so we'll keep not expanding, but we'll keep revealing new neighborhoods on the map with very meaningful talent and artists, and we want to hopefully keep showing the possibilities so people can feel. Many people heard about the Metaverse, still few people felt really what it could be, and I think it can lead to open to many opportunities, jobs, careers, discovery and so on, which we hope to drive. Well, I think it's the best marketing trick in the world to rebrand your company as Meta. Definitely it has led to an impact. The Metaverse is definitely not tied to a single platform. So yes, it could be on mobile, it could be on desktop, on PC, Mac, on web, in AR, in VR. It can be, and it will be accessed in many ways because it's essentially composed of many virtual worlds and platforms that users can take their identity from one to another. That's what we're pushing for. Right now, the challenge is how do we make the Metaverse as accessible as possible. And I feel like VR is not a technology that is mature enough. It's progressing well. There's a lot of R&D that's being put. There's new devices that keep improving over time, but it's not yet there in the mainstream to say like anyone will enter the Metaverse just through VR. Also, it poses a challenge of like the notion of ubiquity. Or more specifically, like, do we want to be physically connected with our avatar into the Metaverse, or do we want to be to have our physical self on one side doing a lot of things here, and the virtual self playing at the same time, and multiple virtual self actually. I'm more favorable to the latter, having multiple digital identity plus your physical identity. I think yes, AR it's very interesting as a technology to bridge between mobile and the physical world and the virtual world. It can be very creative as well, and ultimately VR will have something to offer of value as well as it keeps maturing. But we don't want to restrict to just it. Unfortunately, it seems I'm subject to motion sickness, and so I'm not able to carry VR for a long time, which might also contribute a lot to like if I'm not able to get it, like who can? AR is interesting for sure, and it has like definitely many benefits. The way it's also still not there yet, but that might change with some devices. Like, why do we want to see the world through like a tiny screen? That's the number one challenge of AR. Like, you want it to be fully immersive all around you, not just through that single device screen that you move on.